Paranoid schizophrenia. A lot of stigma has found its way towards sufferers of this disease. Perhaps by the popularization of cannabis, used recreationally, which gives the user an indomitable strength to cure it in themselves, if they allow themselves to be subjected to it, or so they think. What it can do, is give you an absolute robustness to prevent your brain suffering this disease. A protective cocoon, if you like, whereby your brain will train to defend itself, having sensed a potential weakening to it. It's actually quite easy if you invite rationality rather than logic. Alongside this training, however, is an overpowering leading block, much like an overpowered martial art knife hand block, which breaks the opponent's arm. Strengthening yourself to prevent this disease comes at a cost. Indeed, you may remember when you are younger, say 14 years old, as your thoughts turn to being entertained by other speakers rather than get bored or ignorant, you may explore fanciful pathways of rationale and logic, while other people are speaking, and then intermittently remind yourself, PSSST, don't worry, that was me. As and when these explorative thoughts become silly or asinine. Don't forget, normally, or before now, you would have been bored or ignorant of whatever the person in front of you is saying, but it may even be easier to become less bored than before watching television if you can make some use, albeit stupid, of what you can almost gather the person is on about. Over time you lose hold of the piece, don't worry, that was me, part of your subconscious talking to you. It's holding rational together but letting it slip as a logic-based fault when it's actually a rational-based fault. And it is irrational to let it slip away because it is a fragile part of your brain that breaks, and it is already a bit broken. It will confuse the issue of its slipping away or departure as logical rather than rational. As your brain fights the breaking apart of this function, it will contend back and forth about the root area of the damage and assumes logic is a placeholder for clue as to the truth of the matter. Is it a logic or rational-based problem, or is logic letting it go and I'm being logical by letting it go, or is it more than necessary or less rational to keep hold of this friendly subconscious interaction with myself, albeit boring was the previous issue and now this is boring, maybe, letting myself say only the one sentence PSSST, don't worry, that's just me, i.e. you. Which it clearly needs, and you may start to break it completely so that you are not reminding yourself don't worry, that's me, as you're following the person talking or demonstrating something and interceding your own thoughts exploratively now and then, which you will just do, it's normal. This function will simply disappear and give way to occasional audible hallucinations, which are, indeed, hearing people's voices speaking, perhaps to you, or not. Remember these things. It is rational to keep hold of the one thing your subconscious openly talks to you about, the sentence, peace, don't worry, that's just me. Before you had that ability, everything was boring because you could not keep interest on everything your senses detect. And finally, logic takes a backseat during these times because we are not Lieutenant Spock. Much better to always assume your rational and non-logic processes are taking priority and logic is unnecessary in these moments. But this is not paranoid schizophrenia. A recent study suggested 8 out of 10 adults, that's 80% of all adults, have identified to researchers that they have heard or do hear voices. Which is because of the problem I just prescribed. And they will also say it doesn't bother them. That they are quite happy with it. What is common is the breaking, fragile brain damage, if you like, of the fragile part of your brain that reminds you that it is you making that foolish, tired, asinine, maybe witty or humorous, thought though, or whichever it may be, alongside the person speaking in front of you, so as not to give away by expression of the face, any intent to ridicule what they are saying, because you are not concentrating. In fact, if it went unnoticed anyway, you may be worrying about this relaxed attitude and lack of a sit-up straight while I'm talking discipline, which you may be willing to show but can't be overwhelmed with right now. You can fix it up because expressions through the face in these circumstances would only come about because of witty or humorous interceding thoughts which you can hold your tongue about. And conversely, impressions, which won't be apparent to the room, are foolish, asinine, stupid and offensive, and you'll keep the impression of yourself hidden, no matter what you're thinking, because even paranoid schizophrenics can do that bit. Your brain enjoys the serious benefit of important intellectual language or scientific use or good gain, good pain, similarity in context, design and motivation, as well as academic understanding, but also the wit and fictitious nonsense your brain, determines are sarcastic or ironic or simply mundane in the brutal face of a good waste of time, if these things are well enough to be recoverable and simple to put right, or generally vague or inconsequential enough to be entertaining. Who doesn't enjoy science fiction as well as science? History as well as poetry? Musical comedies as well as dramatic futuristic dystopian warnings? But we wouldn't worry about what our body language or facial expressions may say about one to the other. Once we reach maturity, say 14 years old, we are primed, because of our mastery of our own choice and need, first and foremost to find similarities in peoples and things and to acknowledge that we know the differences already. In fact, people with this issue may feel the need to irately challenge awkwardly behaving people with such lines as, "I know the differences already," or "Why have you categorized the similarities already? They and we haven't finished," or "You've made that decision already. Have you? So soon? I'm sorry that happened, but can I even look at you without you talking?" This is a healthy attitude and only serves to put people rightfully in their place, and they will thank you later. Maybe a familiarity like a boyfriend and girlfriend arguing, but one that does not cross boundaries. It is adult talk, assertively, not like a parent scolding a child or a child stubbornly airing out their parent. Follow it up with, "And I don't need that to tell you." Confusion. 50 to 60% of learning difficulties arise from confusion surrounding not being able to learn from differences. It's simply, extremely difficult. We mainly learn from similarities to things, or simply follow time-old rationale and logic if they are new things. We do not suddenly find or attempt to use some miraculous newfound rationale and logic if they are as well new things we are learning. How can we empathize if we concentrate on the differences? Well, we cannot. It is taking away from normal. AB taking away, normal. Abnormal. Taking away from normal. Someone who is abnormal is either taking away from normal, or they've done it so much they are not functioning correctly anymore. What is normal is finding the similarities, from having good discipline, but soon, quickly by having a credited attribute of strictness. And it is simply being disciplined to always do that in politeness which will excuse the need to worry about what our body language or expressions may be showing other people. There is a scene in Goodfellas where Joe Pesci shoots the foot off a barman because he failed to register enough similarity from what he was saying and did not act or address this issue quickly enough.
Hey, Spider, on your way over here, bring me a cutting water, huh? I'm good.
Did you guys eat?
I'm starving. I want some change.
You didn't go after you guys came up?
I'll play these.
What? Play those?
Like fucking stutter up with.
Okay, you get big.
What am I, a mirage?
What?
What? Where's my fucking drink? I asked you for a drink.
You wanted a drink?
I just asked you for a fucking drink.
No, I thought you said that you were all right, Spider.
No. What do you got me on a fucking pay no mind list, kid?
No,
You little
because
fucking prick.
I thought I heard someone say something. Spider. I thought
Spider.
it was Henry.
You know you're a fucking mumbling, stuttering little fuck. You know that?
No, I thought you said I was all right, Spider. So.
No, you ain't all right, Spider. You got a lot of fucking problems.
No, I thought you said you were all right, Spider.
I am all right. You ain't all right, you little fucking
That's what-
prick.
I thought I am.
You've been doing this all fucking night to me, you motherfucker.
You want the drink now? Okay, I'll bring it for
Yeah,
you.
well, give me a fucking drink. Move it, you little prick. You walk like fucking Step and Fetch. Everybody else, you'll fucking run. Run for me, you prick. Dance. Dance the fucking drink back here. The little prick. Hey, what's that movie that Bogart made?
Which one?
The one where he played a cowboy. Only the one.
The Oklahoma Kid.
Oklahoma Kid. Shane. Oklahoma Kid. That's me. I'm the Oklahoma Kid. You fucking farmer. Dance. Dance. Yahoo, you motherfucker. Come on. Come on, you. Dance, you little prick. Now he's moving. He's making
Henry, what
He's got him in the foot,
Tommy.
He's fucking doctor. All right, so he got shot in the foot. What is it, a big fucking deal?
Vito, get a towel.
Nice fucking game.
Hey, take him to Ben Casey, the little prick. Look, let him crawl there like he crawls for the fucking
Take him
drink.
down the doctor. Take him to the doctor down the street.
Fucking prick.
Feels like his bones are all shattered. Come on,
Hey, don't get me upset now. I'll make a big...
As children, we are taught strictness by making sure we know to ask, rather than do as we please or do as we want. to prevent injury or loss or damage to property. We are taught discipline from age 10, by making sure we can explain the question we are asking. Then, strictness is put away forever and discipline follows the regimented, being brought up, which is almost there now. And we end up with a permanent duty of care which, in intelligence, is set in our impression of ourselves and other people's that we present. Healthily, we place things in our blind spots here so that others can see things about ourselves which we no longer look at or can. Because our strictness is certified and bona fide and filed away forever. We won't hurt ourselves or fail to look after you unless we fail this strictness attribute, but things in our blind spots will hopefully enable others to warn us if things are going wrong in this regard, as they sense we may be blind to those particular indicators of functioning strict or legit. Even if we know we've kind of put those things there for others to point out quickly to us to warn. If we've paid the person standing before us attention, and our minds should wander a bit in their focus, then we are still looking at the similarities, and this should resolve to strengthen your base, or bases. The silly or mildly offensive thought we look like we're turning out in front of some people is actually always based in a similarity we can't quite put our finger on, but is there nevertheless. And it has come about in good time. As a rule of thumb, it is a genuine wholeness about yourself to get excited quickly and anger slowly as long as there is vigor and not vulgarity associated with yourself. Start to look at your own deeds in front of you instead, and you may want to put more into your blind spots at any age, i.e. I'm fed up looking at that about myself now, I know it's legit, my discipline is focused elsewhere. This worry that they will for some reason react to our lack of control, is not paranoia. It's worry about what our body language or expressions may be showing about them to other people. Or directly back at them. Which is hardly ever so. Even if it seems to be, remember that weed will push your genuine vigorousness way before it presses your vulgarity, unless you are really non-concerned with this issue. As an adult, do not react or respond in expression or impression, it is a matter for seeing similarity only. You will do yourself and others more harm. Yourself first, then others. Or someone will put you out of business for good. The audible hallucinations are not schizophrenia. It's a melancholy hallucination derived from this event. I have met and spoken to paranoid schizophrenics on occasions whereby I've discussed what it is that makes them so, and a couple have openly admitted to telling me this. What they've told me, in reply to me asking them, what is it that makes you schizophrenic? As a weed smoker, I am terribly afraid that I might be one, so I'm desperate to know the difference. P.S. Oh, I know. You smoke weed. Yeah, people ask me this all the time, mate. Nothing to worry about. You're not. It's like this, yeah. Cool, mate. Cool. P.S. You see that guy over there? Yes. P.S. Whenever he opens a door, I find his fingers are really, really weird. The way they turn the handle stupidly, and it makes me retch inside my head. Oh. P.S. And that guy over there. Whenever he walks into the room, he smiles every time and looks to the back corner of the room, every time at the same time, and the weird way he does it. And when he turns, his left heel always rises slightly. I find it really, intensely weird. They're all weird. Not everyone is like it, but I find these things in a lot of people, and just people. I just find a lot of people really weird. Thanks. Bye, runs. People with actual paranoid schizophrenia are incredibly dangerous. They are, perhaps, the most dangerous people on the planet. What this guy wouldn't just say to me is that he is perhaps a small fraction away from a serial killing rampage every moment when these things are seen. Indeed, much different to the average pothead. As a pothead for many decades, I can rigorously tell you that the introduction of CBD in weed has had a whopping effect on this breakage of subconscious gathering to note derivation from function, which it needs to allow. It fails to allow it so salaciously. A pure THC weed, or resin, will allow the derivation from function much more stimulantly. CBD will break the part of your brain that tells yourself from subconscious to conscious piece, don't worry about that thought, that was me. It forces you to develop an impossible barrier to acquiring PS as a disease, but at a cost of developing aural hallucinations, melancholy failures to tell yourself not to worry about losing control. Lose control if you want because you no longer enforce strictness as a grown adult. And you can explain any question you may ask or have to ask. You can maintain in this situation looking at the similarities and, if none are there, then just remember to say I know the differences already, and I don't need that to tell you.